everybody. Good evening, and welcome to GH Gospel Radio. Welcome to your very own show, Let's Talk Marriage. And tonight's topic is somehow controversial, but that's how we do. We like to talk about the things that nobody else wants to talk about, as long as it's meaningful to us or we believe it would help us all do better in our marriages. We'll just go ahead and talk about it, because what happens is that when we talk about things, we're able to see what didn't go right. We're able to share ideas, and we're able to come to a better place. If everybody keeps their own ideas in their head, it doesn't help anybody. Evil thrives in secrecy. It's better that we all speak out and be able to correct each other's mistakes or be able to learn from each other. The Bible even says that open hatred is even better than hidden love. If you love somebody, you don't say anything. You are not doing anything. If somebody hates you and lets you know, they are doing better than the person who loves you and is not doing anything about it. So tonight, as the self-appointed wife's secretary, I'm just going to bring together all the things that I've gathered over time that wives wished that everybody would know, especially husbands, in-laws, and society in general. And so tonight's topic is the wife's speech. And we wrote speech just to sound more polite. To be very honest, it's more of a rant. We're just going to pour everything that is on our chest that we need husbands to understand, we need society to understand, and we need in-laws to understand. It is true that things happen on both sides. The things that happen to wives sometimes happens to husbands. But if we are all being honest with ourselves, wives are often getting the short end of the stick. And I've come to realize that most of the time when husbands gather and wives also gather and we are talking about things that do not go our way, most of the time the husbands say the same thing, the wives say the same things, and it looks like there's no middle ground. Nobody wants to cross over to the other person's carpet so that they can better understand each other. So the decision is that right now, we're all going to pour out our hearts. Tonight, I'm going to pour the hearts of wives out in regards to husbands, in regards to society, in regards to in-laws. We're going to pour it all out. And then whoever wants to learn from it, learn from it. Whoever wants to overlook it, overlook it. But at the end of the day, we're not going to keep quiet and act like everything is all right. And then one day you say that, oh, if you had told us, we would have done something about it. Tonight, we're going to say everything. We're going to pour it all out so that you will not have the excuse of saying that if only we knew, if only you had told us, we would have done something about it. We are telling you now, and we hope that you listen with an open mind and an open heart. Because most of the time when women complain, when wives complain, many people, especially husbands, term it as, oh, as for women, that's how they are. As for women, this, as for women, that. And to be fair, in other societies, it's not like that. So some people are going to find what we say here tonight a bit over the top, but we are going to talk about what we know and what we have experienced. So if that is not your experience, we thank God for you, and we pray that you continue to enjoy fairness. But for those of us who are not seeing things right, who thinks things need to change, we're going to tell you what we've seen. We're not trying to lie on anybody. We're going to describe what we have seen and what we expect to see in the future. This is just a rant. We're just pouring out. Feel free to do whatever you want to do with it. We are happy to just lay it all out there and for you to decide what you want to do with it. So, as always, we're going straight for the husbands. And over the past few weeks, there was this video that I watched. There was this preacher, middle-aged man, who said that under no circumstance should anybody change your husband's bed sheet. Under no circumstance should anybody make your husband's bed. Under no circumstance should anybody serve your husband's food. Wives, listen, this is something that you need to understand. Nobody should take that place but you. Okay, so here is the wife's answer to that. Number one, if the sheets are dirty, husbands, you got two hands, change them. It's not only you waiting for your husband, for your wife or somebody else to come and change it. You got two hands, change them. If you are hungry and your wife has cooked, you are blessed. Serve yourself some food. You are not handicapped. If there is a need for help around the house, don't act like you bring all the money, you're done. Don't act like you don't change diapers. If you have a baby, you need to be competent in changing diapers. Those days of this is a woman's job, this is a woman's job, it's not okay. It's time to be reasonable. And I have a soft spot for preacher men because, well, I don't know, say it's a soft spot. It's more of a sore spot. And even before I go on, big apologies to my spiritual father. I'm in no way trying to belittle your role in my life, but this is to all the other preachers who are making the true preachers look bad. When you stand in the pulpit, that is not a time to settle scores with wives. To be very honest, majority of preachers are men. And obviously, people are using first, is it 2 Timothy 1 verse 8? I've forgotten that verse. But it's a verse about the women should shut up, the women should not preach, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how that fits in with the totality of the gospel. But when you ask me, when Jesus Christ came to this earth, that was not his example. He worked with women. He showed himself to women the first time he rose from the dead. Jesus Christ in no way belittled women. Jesus Christ shared the gospel as much as with men as with women. And here is a very beautiful experience. When the lady who was caught in adultery was brought to Jesus, and they asked him, Moses said, anybody who did this, we should stone him. What did Jesus say? He said, where is the guy? And anybody who has not sinned before, let him cast the first stone. So you see, if the people there at the time were being fair and they were being reasonable, their first instinct was that nobody commits adultery by themselves. There were two people. How come the woman is being brought up to be stoned to death and the man is nowhere to be found? Some of these things are biases. Some of these things are man-made rules. Some of these things are things that people have forced onto society. Well, maybe we'll talk more about that when we get to the society part. Right now, we're talking to husbands. So please, husbands and the many men who are preacher men, who are husbands, do not use the pulpit to settle your marital scores. If you have a quarrel with your wife, fix it at home. Go find a counselor. Don't take the mic and start insulting all women. We are tired. Wives Association, we are tired of being made to look bad all the time because you had a quarrel with your wife. Fix it as a mature person. The other thing we want to talk about when it comes to husbands is that submission is none of husband's business. I repeat, it is not the job of husbands to go and tell wives to submit to them. By your attitude, you will get submission. If you are treating your wife good, your wife will very likely submit to you. I am in no way saying that women are perfect or wives are perfect. I know there are some stubborn wives, and no matter what you do, they will not submit. But at the end of the day, it is no man's responsibility to make sure that their wife submits to them. The responsibility that husbands have in marriage is to make sure that what God told them to do, that is love your wife, they are doing it, and they are doing it to the best of their ability. If your wife is not submitting to you, it's not your job to make sure she's submitting to you. Your job is do your loving well, do what you need to do well. Once in a while, you could make suggestions. You could try to talk about things. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Those of you going around withholding finances from your wives, those of you going around coercing your wives, those of you going around using power play to force your wives to submit to you, I hope you're ready for Judgment Day, because it's not my job. Hey, hello, Pastor Favor. I am so happy you're here. She says, submission is love induced. There are very few women that you love them and they will not submit to you. Mami Nikwe, you are welcome. Tonight, I know the comment section is going to be buzzing with questions. Keep them coming and let's talk. So if you're a husband and you are forcing your wife to submit, you're going about it all wrong. But at the end of the day, it's even none of my business. I just hope you're ready for the Judgment Day, because you don't answer to me, you don't answer to your wife, you answer to God. So keep going, and I hope you're happy with whatever judgment you're going to get on Judgment Day. So let's talk to in-laws. Secretary of Wives Association. We would like in-laws to know that we married your daughter, we married your son, and we married the family too. But there are boundaries. You don't get to come into our homes and do whatever you like. When your son is married, when your son is a husband, you don't take over their lives. You don't take over what goes on in their home. Stop poking your noses into your children's marriages and into your brother or your sister's marriage. It's none of your business. Go spend your time with your own partner. If you don't have one, spend that time finding one. And at the end of the day, all you owe your in-law is respect. You don't have to be friends. You don't have to be lovey-dovey. Allow your son to marry in peace. When you walk into your son's house, you need permission. You have no right to demand what you want. When you come to your son's house, whatever is going on there is none of your business. Go to your own husband's house. Go to your own wife's house. And if you don't have son, spend the time and the energy to make one. We do not want to hear that phrase that we suffered to raise this one, we gave everything to raise this one. The woman's family also suffered to raise him, to raise her. They also suffered to put everything they had into them. And at the end of the day, by the time that you were raising your family member, Pastor Favor says, when I have given birth to the child, I need permission. Pastor Favor, you need permission. In fact, at that time of your life, you need to be so busy enjoying your own life that your children will have to beg you to come and visit them. You need permission. And if they report you to me that you didn't get permission, you're going into their house anyhow, I'll come and find you. Yes, at the end of the day, allow your children to marry in peace and stop interfering in their lives. Make sure that you respect their boundaries. Make sure that you don't go poking your nose into their affairs. It's natural for you to be attached to them. It's natural for you to want to have a hold on them. You have suffered. You sold all your clothes. You sold everything you have, but you cannot marry them. Somebody else is marrying them. And marriage is for the future. They are not married so that they can take care of you. They are married so that they can take care of their children and pay it forward. Nobody signed an agreement with you that as you're taking care of your child, they also have to come and take care of you. Nobody signed that agreement. It is wise and it's a blessing for children to take care of their parents. But that entitlement attitude is not going to cut it. You have no right to your children's money. Make your own. Save for your retirement. Do not go force your children that you have to take care of me. Let your children understand that you really would appreciate them helping you out the way you are spending time helping them out. But cut out the entitlement. Cut out the fact that you feel like your son's wife is spending all his money, so he doesn't have time to take care of you. It's not going to cut it. But if you think it cuts it, that's your cup of tea. That's none of my business. It's between you and God. Please, when the time comes, you will answer to God, not me. Me, I'll be asleep in my home. I'll be busy spending my own money and minding my own business. So it's up to you. Pastor Favor says, but do the children need permission to visit parents? Well, from my experience, my parents were begging us to come visit them. So if your parents are begging you to come visit them, then I'm sure they will never ask you to ask permission for you to visit them. But hey, to be fair, to be honest, when you are an adult, you need to ask your parents permission to visit them. But like I'm saying, there are times that you're so busy with your new family and you're so busy with work, you may not even find the time. So your parents may even be the ones begging you. But as an adult, as a mature adult, it's important that you don't take children's freedoms for granted, and you don't take your parents' freedom for granted either. Don't go visiting them by heart. You need permission as a child to visit your parents. Call them and ask them, hey, we want to come over this weekend. Is that okay? Yeah. So, Pastor Favor, to answer your question, the children need permission to visit their parents. But I think most of the time, they don't even notice because the parents will be begging. They are the ones who have time on their hands. And now that they've spent all their time at the office, they want to spend time with you. And you are now spending time at the office. So life kind of goes around and comes around. But whichever way, show respect and have boundaries. Now to society. Secretary of Wives Association. I've been asked to come tell you that those things that you make cliche, those things that you say off the top of your head and you act like it's gospel truth and that all wives should submit to it, please keep it in your house. We are tired of hearing those things. I'll cite an example. There's this nice, handsome man who was advising his brother-in-law at their wedding ceremony. And he told the brother-in-law, you need to pamper my sister. You need to make her feel good. Always make sure she's okay and she's well cared for and blah, blah, blah. And then he added that the whole world knows that men are adulterous. So even when you're cheating on your wife, don't let your wife see it. Don't flaunt it in front of your wife. And I was like, well, this is where you lost it. Please, whoever society is, I don't know where society lives, and I don't know where their headquarters is. But if you're part of a group of people who have their own ideas about what should go on in other people's home, who feel that this is what must happen in other people's homes, please, Wives Association need you to understand that you need to keep it to yourself. If you don't want to keep it to yourself and you want to keep saying it, we don't mind. But maybe if you come face to face with somebody like me, we may have a little chat and you may not enjoy it. But hey, who am I? At the end of the day, you do you and we will do we. But for today, we just need you to understand that those things need to stop. If you don't want to stop, we don't really care, but we just want you to know. So that thing that all men are adulterous. You think women cannot be adulterous? You think women do not have feelings? The fact that you don't see women cheat because society would frown upon it does not mean women don't cheat. You think when women see fine men, they don't see them? You think wives are blind? You need to wake up. If you feel it's okay for husbands to be adulterous, wake up. It is not okay. All men cheat. It's not in the Bible. Wherever you got that phrase, take it back. Because if you want to be like men can cheat, women cannot cheat, it really makes no sense. If you want your marriage to work, the standards that men have to uphold, the same standards women have to uphold. If you think all men cheat, then make up your mind that all women cheat too. Don't bring those unnecessary pronouncements anywhere. If you think all men cheat, edit it to add all women cheat. If you want to mess your marriage up by cheating, feel free to cheat. Nobody is holding you. Don't go making up phrases that all men cheat. It makes no sense. It is not true. And if you want to make a more balanced argument, just add that all women cheat too. You see, we've gotten to a point in life where, by the grace of God, women have had the opportunity to be able to meet their needs. So marriage is no longer like a safety net for women anymore. And because of that, it has become like men have to be more accountable and men have to prove their worth more. In the days of the Bible, the verse that talks about God hates divorce, the underlying theme was that without a woman being married, she could not have property, she could not work to support herself, she could not earn an income, she could not make decisions for herself, she could not buy a piece of land, she could not even inherit her parents' property. But what do we see now? By the grace of God, all those wrong ideologies are beginning to fall away. Women have come a long way. We are not where we need to be, but at least men are beginning to appreciate women more because, in fact, those people who champion women causes more, a lot of them are men. It's not every man who is toxic. It's not every man who wants to oppress women. All we are seeing is that the good men are more quiet and the bad nuts are louder. So it's beginning to look like men are being toxic. We know that there are many great men. We know that there are many good men. But what is happening is that when the good men don't speak up and allow the bad men to go around spreading stuff like all men cheat, it makes men look bad. We women need society to listen with an open mind. We are tired of being labeled. As for women, they are emotional. As for women, they are their own enemies. Once you say that, we all know that you're a guy. Because if you're a woman, you say, women, we are our own enemies. But most of the time you hear, oh, women are their own enemies. So it means whoever is saying that is not a woman, is a guy, right? You like bundling women together. And every time there's a misunderstanding, you're being too emotional. The fact that you don't understand a woman's point of view does not mean whatever she's saying is not valid. Women are emotional. Yes, we did not create ourselves. God chose to make us emotional. If you cannot come to a place of understanding and respect, don't belittle women for being emotional. We are emotional. We will continue to be emotional as we please. If you cannot deal with it, it's up to you. Life will still move on. Anyway, I feel like we're tired. We are tired. You see, most of the time, it's abusive men who always want to be like, women should submit. Women should submit. When you are treating a woman badly and she is fighting back, then you want to bring in the submission clause. If a woman cannot decide on her own what is right, then who are you dealing with? Are you dealing with a child? Are you dealing with, if you can't trust women to make wise decisions, then we are losing the battle all around. And if you trust women to make wise decisions, then your attitude should change. When a woman says something, when your wife says something that you do not agree with, you shouldn't brush it off as she's being crazy. The fact that you don't agree with it does not mean she's wrong. If you took the time to try to listen, to try to understand, probably you're going to get somewhere. The time where women are blamed for everything and women are told what to do, and it's like we're tired. Wives Association, we're tired. We need husbands to see the home as teamwork. We need society to stop putting all these cliches on women and acting like women are the bad guys. We just want reasonable consideration. We don't want men to be like, oh, every woman is right. No, we just want you to be reasonable. We are intelligent. We are capable. So when we speak, you listen. And when we speak, you don't make cliches out of it. You try to reason with us. If at the end of the day, you can't trust us to reason, then I don't know what you're trying to do. And if you marry somebody and later on you think the person is not smart enough, then you should question your judgment, because you knew the person was not smart and you married the person anyway. It's time to be accountable. It's time to treat women right. And you see, the people who sometimes amaze me are the women who are so afraid of offending men and getting in their bad books that even when they are treating women wrongly, they would support them. One group of women I really admire is Ashanti women. I'm not saying they are always right. I'm not saying that they are perfect. But I see Ashanti women as taking their lives into their own hands. They don't sit down for anybody to dictate to them, and they know how to get what they need in relationships. Our rant here tonight is that stop making rules upon rules upon rules for women. Whichever woman you are living with, whichever wife you're living with, be reasonable enough. See that woman as your equal. See that woman as somebody that you're sharing life with, and not somebody that you have to dictate to. And let me reiterate this. It is those men who are being abusive who want women to be submissive, who want women to accept everything they do, to accept everything that they say. So what the rest of us are doing is making women more likely to agree to the demands of abusive men. So by forcing women to fit into a certain mold, we are only making it easier for the abusers to get away with evil. So, rant over. Whatever wife you're dealing with, make sure you're being reasonable. And I really recommend God to you. I really recommend giving your life to Christ, because if Christ is the center of your life, your decisions will be easier. The Holy Spirit himself will guide you. So you will not need to hide behind all these kind of abusive narratives to force your wife to be what they do not need to be. So at this juncture, we have spent 30 minutes on this call. And usually what I do is, if it's me ranting, if it's me doing a monologue, the 30 minutes, we call it a night. So far, with everything that we have mentioned in the wife's speech, if you have any questions, Mami Nikwe, I saw you, Pastor Favor, I saw you, whoever else is on the line, if you have any questions or contributions, this is a great time to bring it up so that we add it all together and then we share ideas. But if not, then this is a great place to end the rant. And before we walk off, I would want to encourage everybody that I'm not afraid of dialogue. If you have anything to say, if you have anything to share, go ahead and let's share. Let's talk. Let's be respectful of each other and let's share ideas, because the more we dialogue and the more that we talk, the more we are able to interact. And the Bible says iron sharpens iron. We rub off on each other and we make each other better. So God willing, next week we have our brother Dr. Solomon Bote. He's going to join us on Let's Talk Marriage. And just as I gave a rant tonight to husbands, or I gave a rant on behalf of the wives, because tonight's message was not only to husbands, it was to husbands, it was to in-laws, and it was to society in general. So God willing, be here with us, and he is also going to share with us what the husband's speech is. I don't know who he's going to address, but I can be sure the wives will be on that list. We are open to listening. We are open to learning from each other. And we just want to share ideas. Mami Nikwe says, yes, I cannot. She says, oh my God, I cannot wait. Yes, please join us. And she says, today, I'm silent. Mami Nikwe, speak up. Speak up. Just say what is on your heart. You see, when you don't say what's on your heart, then everybody can assume and put anything there. Speak up for yourself. God gave you those lips to speak up. But it's also okay if you want to go back and think about everything we said. There's nothing wrong with thinking about stuff. But I wish that you would speak up so that we will all share ideas. So God willing, next week, Dr. Solomon Bote is going to be with us to give us the husband's speech as to what husbands need the rest of us all to know. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Whatever time you may be listening, thank you. Drop a comment, drop a question. We will rewatch it later and answer all your questions. And then please join us, God willing, same time next week, 6 p.m. Central Time. And until we meet at that time, please do remember that it takes a good Christian to have a good Christian marriage. God bless your marriage. Bye-bye.